episode of Biomedcast. Today, I'm your host, I'm Hui Tong, and together with me, we have our co-hosts, Vanessa and Lilian.
Hello.
Hello. In today's episode, we invite the Program Director of Biomedical Science Module, which is Dr. Tsen.
Hello.
Dr. Tsen, may you introduce yourself?
Right, so I'm Dr. Tsen. I'm the current Program Director for Bachelor of Science Honours in Biomedical Science, IMU. So I joined IMU in 2007, that was 15 years back, a few months before the inaugural intake BM108, right?
Dr. Tsen, what made you decide you want to become the Program Director of this module?
So someone has to take the job, and the job mainly is administrative, right? We do a lot of I do a lot of housekeeping job. I work very closely with semester and module coordinators to monitor students' attendance, and then I also do paperwork that make sure the curriculum is in line with the program standards that's given by NQA. Right?
Doctor, can I ask, are you graduating from IMU?
I graduated from IMU PhD, so in 2019, right? So so for my bachelor, I studied at University Malaya, Bachelor of Biomedical Science. I also did master there. Before coming to IMU, I was actually a scientific officer at the clinical diagnostic lab at University Malaya Medical Center. So I worked in the diagnostic lab as a scientific officer. Then I decided to join IMU, and that is about the same time I started a PhD project. It took a long time to complete. Finally, I got it in 2019. Right?
Can I ask why you choose IMU?
So at the time, I sent resumes to many institutions, right. And at that time, IMU was about to start biomedical science program. They needed people that have experience in the clinical diagnostic lab. So
Okay. So since you mentioned just now, you started your journey in IMU since 2007, right? Do you notice any difference between the past and present, like the syllabus or the student, the behavior?
Right. Yeah. So we went through a substantial amount of changes in curriculum. We went through 3 rounds of major curriculum review. That is a requirement. That means every 5 years you need to have a major curriculum review. So some of the changes are obvious, like the duration of practical attachment. It's extended from 8 weeks to 26 weeks now. But that is also in line with the requirement of NQA. And then the changes were introduced in 2018. And about the same time, we also introduced OSLI, that is the skill assessment, which we just went through, right? Some new modules are being introduced, like introduction to healthcare data analytics. So this kind of new module, it's introduced just because of the advance of the digital technologies that is in both research and the healthcare field, which is something new, but science is always exploring something new, and hence we need to introduce new modules every now and then. And for some modules, the name didn't change at all, but the content went through a lot of changes. So for example, if it's statistics module, it went from total manual calculation to software based, right? And for entrepreneurship module, it also went from total theory based module to a module that requires business plan proposal and a business plan pitching.
More application.
More application, right. So in terms of delivery, we also went through a lot of changes. The most prominent one would be the online examination. So in the past, of course, examination are all paper-based, right? MCQ, SAQ, all that. Nowadays, everything is online. Also, delivery-wise, in the past it was 100% face-to-face. Now because of the pandemic, a lot of them went online, right? And yeah, that's the delivery. Then when it comes to student behavior, I think new students, junior students now, a lot more technology savvy. I mean, just look at this, just look at this, right? Yeah, more technology savvy, a lot more into social media, which really have a lot of pros and cons in it. But I do see you're more creative. Like in the past, SBS has been around for many years, but you are the one that come up with the idea of having podcasts, this kind of stuff. Yeah, a lot more creative. Yeah, very resourceful as well. Yeah. I hope this thing help you in the learning, right? But really, you guys very into technology and very resourceful and creative.
Is there any challenges you face as a program director of this module? Like especially you have to communicate between student and lecturer, like how you maintain the professionalism.
So, like I say, I depends a lot. I mean, I work closely with my other colleagues when communicating with students. A lot of the time, we always emphasize that students to really contact us directly when they face any issue. For instance, they can't find any information on the e-learning portal, this kind of stuff. I actually, in order for the program to run very smoothly, I depends on work very closely with my colleagues, right? When it comes to student communication, I hope I communicate enough with the students. So I also depends on the class reps a lot of the time to disseminate any news. Yeah, so yeah, it depends a lot of technologies nowadays to make communication announcement. But yeah, I hope I communicate enough. When professionalism, I hope I am a good role model to my students. Oh, thank you. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. Maintain a professional relationship with my students. I also hope that I'm being professional with my colleagues, meeting deadlines that they give me, respect their personal time and so on. Yeah, right.
So as a program director, do you work from 9 to 5 or 9 to 7?
I have received WhatsApps, Teams message, email from students, maybe 1 in the morning, 12 midnight, and I received before. Not all the time, of course, thanks to technologies. In the past, I think we only communicate with students through email, phones occasionally, but now you have an option of WhatsApps and Teams. And so let's say leave application will come in sometimes through email, sometimes through WhatsApp, sometimes through Teams. So when it comes to student supports, we don't expect it's within office hours all the time.
Do you still reply to your colleague or student
during
yeah.
outside?
So we were always told that we are not obliged to reply outside office hours, but depending on how serious and how urgent it is. Yeah, but if it's just leave application or I can't find the notes on email, that kind of stuff, I will leave it to the next day to reply. So fortunately, I don't need to like get up 2 in the morning to rush to the hospital and this kind of stuff. It's not happened to me yet. It's not happened to me yet. Yeah.
But isn't it more convenient that students are using like other than email to text you like through WhatsApp sometimes to Teams? It's more efficient, I would say, because for me I prefer through Teams or any chatting platform, right? Instead of email, because email sometimes as a student, I don't check email as often as I do for, let's say, Teams messages or WhatsApp, right?
So yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Also thanks to this kind of advance in technologies, students will more likely to open to communication. Like you say, you don't normally check email, but if your lecturers or communicate you through Teams or WhatsApp, you're more likely to reply, this kind of stuff. So yes, so I'm not against
I guess.
new mode of communications. Just that now it looks like that. So on a positive note, that there's more channel for students to communicate with us. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So like, how do you maintain your work-life balance?
I think this is a tip we all need.
So I look at it like work-life balance is a direction, not really an achievement, like a position that I already achieved. I'm now at a work-life balance state in my life. I mean, I look at it like it's always a direction to strive for. So sometimes we might get deviated from that direction. So maybe sometimes we have too much of paperwork or too many assignments to marks, just like you have too many assignments to submit. So sometimes you deviate from that direction, but always remind yourself to go back to that direction and go to that direction. So I can't say I'm in the work-life balance state in my life now, far from it actually, far from it. But yeah, I walk towards it. Yeah.
So now let's talk about like more depth in biomedical science. So how do you look at the current biomedical science in Malaysia?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're looking
The trend of biomedical science in Malaysia.
So we see that the healthcare industry is always expanding. There are more and more hospital and diagnostic labs setting up, and hence there's more and more clinical laboratory technologies that are required more in the lab. Although now it's already a lot of procedures are already automated, but still the number of staff that required is always increasing. And especially so when the Allied Health Professional Act is already introduced, and in the future only graduates from, let's say, biomedical science, microbiology, biochemistry, these few graduates are able to work in the diagnostic laboratories. So besides like diagnostic laboratories also, we also see that the cases or the treatment for infertility is also increased. So there are more and more fertility centers that are doing IVF. So the requirements or for embryology and geneticists is always there. That is why later in this year we're going to have diagnostic lecture series on embryology. Alright, so this is right. So this is another activities that we're going to have. And beside diagnostic laboratories, you also look into all other industry that support the medical and healthcare services. For instance, healthcare data analytics. So we already have graduates that really work in healthcare data analytics. So that means her responsibility in the hospital that she's working at. So she works together with the vendor that's supplying the computer system, try to help the hospital to migrate whatever information from patient admission to laboratory informations and so on into their integrated computer systems. So yeah, there's healthcare data analytics. So it means working with a lot of different data and informations from patient information, admission information, laboratory results, and so on. Yeah. So yeah, you also have this kind of industry that is new industries that are coming out that is supporting the whole healthcare industry.
So do you think it's worth to join biomedical science?
Yes, of course, yes. So we talk a lot about diagnostic and the healthcare fields. Not to forget that about 1/3 of the students, graduates in the past, we noticed that will go into research, academia, and also further study medical program, dentistry program, and so on. Right. So a lot of them so now work at research labs overseas. Right. Study master and PhD and more as academia.
So you just now mentioned like most of the graduate students, they mostly go for research, right? So what type of personality you think that is more suit the biomedical science program?
Among our colleagues, we always use the word attitude when we describe students, right? Students that you go into research, you said you're saying, right? So students who go into research, I think most importantly, they will really have the passion and interest in doing research, because we have students that went to phase 1 practical attachment at the research lab, phase 2 at the clinical lab, and then end up saying that I don't think I will go into research, right? Or I don't think I'll go to diagnostic. So that's why it is good to always try both at the time of practical attachment, right? So students that will go into research normally is the type that have that they really like research, they are passionate about it, and they like problem solving, have that analytical skill, and after able to endure the kind of loneliness and difficulty at the time when you face some hurdle in the research, can't seem to get help from your supervisors, co-supervisors. Then you have to resort to go to internet and search whether there's any methods to help me out, ask your friends or colleagues, other postgraduate students, and so on. If you have that kind of perseverance and you're able to have that problem solving skill and analytical mind, you are suited for postgraduate study.
I'm curious from your past students, those who didn't end up in labs and research or diagnostic, where do they usually end up in? Like what field of work do they usually end up doing? So you mentioned some realize that they're not fit for research or diagnostic. So what field of work do they end up doing?
So we have a big number of students that is in the insurance industry. So it's either underwriter or claim officers. So underwriter means they are the one that will examine the application form, and determine whether a person that want to buy insurance will need to have increased premium or this kind of stuff. And claim officers, well, you know what claim officers is. They read through your admission reports, know what's your procedure that you're going through as a patient, what medicine was being prescribed to you, and from there they decide, okay, this one can claim, this one cannot be claimed, this kind of officers. We also have students that is in banking, right?
Banking.
Right. So because it's a general it's an industry that will need all type of specialized expertise. We also have graduates that become sales and marketing personnel at pharmaceutical industries, right? Or application specialists for pharmaceutical industry. So application specialist means that a person that will teach clients how to use a kit or reagents or instruments, right? So let's say you are a company that is in pharmaceutical industry supply, let's say a PCR machine to a research lab. So the application specialist would be the one that will give training, induction training regarding that it's new instruments. So it could be instrument, it could be reagents, it could be kits. So application specialist would be the one that gives training, right? Or try to troubleshoot with the clients if they don't know how to use the kits and instruments.
But the one that you mentioned just now, the application specialist, don't they usually need further studies or anything? Is it?
Some of them require some of them, some of the company will prefer, let's say, you did your master in microbiology and then your work involves some kind of molecular biology work, and PCR. So then you are suited to supply, become application specialist that is relevant to microbiology products and molecular biology products. But a lot of the time, these are on the job training. You can get some sort of on the job training to become an application specialist. So I have known a lot of application specialists that never been through postgraduate studies.
Okay.
I think as long as you maintain thirsty, willing to learn, right? Then you will get enough on the job training to do the job. So even for biologists actually, right? So a lot of this time is on the job training.
And biology like about what?
So biologists would be laboratory workers in the fertility center that do in vitro fertilization. Right, so they are the one that will introduce sperm to ovum, culture the embryo. Once it's a 5-day-old, then the doctor is going to put the embryo into the woman's womb. So that's the role and responsibilities of embryologists.
That's so stressful.
It is, yeah.
So is there any advice from you for the newbies who want to join the
Maybe give them a little insight of what Biomed is, because I feel like some of our classmates, and including me, when I first joined Biomed, I only know briefly what it's about, but then I don't really have a full idea of what Biomed is. Sometimes I get confused even with biotech, because it's
But do you know what's the difference? No.
I mean, I do after a while, but it still sounds similar, because we do have like modules that are to get shared, and even if it's not shared, they have a module that is similar, and the content is also similar. So I think I know some differences, but then there's still a lot of similarity.
Yeah, true. So the advice, or maybe I just introduce the program first to newbies or foundation students out there. So biomedical science is actually the combination of medical and biology. So we learn a lot of system module. So that means we learn a lot of physiology and pathology on human body. The diagnostic or laboratory tests, that is to test for the diseases, right? And the curriculum is designed in such a way that it's fit to go into diagnostic lab and research lab, especially in the medical field. Right? Disease research, diagnostic method research.
So we collected a few more questions from the student and also the public. So to ask Dr. Tsen. So okay, I will start the first one now. Can we access to our EOS exam question to let us know which question is correct or wrong in order to enhance the understanding according to learning outcome?
You mean to say you want to look at Tsen 3 question paper?
Yeah, to know which question is correct or wrong.
So like we can learn from our mistakes maybe.
Yeah.
Or is that something confidential?
Yeah, something confidential. Right.
So the answer is
I'm afraid the answer is no. Exam questions are confidential.
okay. The second one, do you enjoy your job?
Yes, very much. I think I enjoy the teaching part, right? I so enjoy skill sessions together with students.
Have you known like you always wanted to be a teacher, or it just came across after a while?
Do I always know?
Because usually people who became teachers are like, oh, when I was younger, I never thought that I would go into teaching, usually. But then as they go on study, they found out that they're actually interested in teaching. Is it the same for you or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, right.
Because I think his sister is also a teacher, a language teacher.
She was studying a whole different degree, like chemistry, but then she started teaching
English.
English.
Right.
So
How do you find PM 121 compared to other batches?
Oh, tea.
How do I find one? So I have to say 125 is a special batch because you are the one that is following the newest curriculum.
Oh.
That is why if you look at the e-learning portal, you have a special segment for you. You always is you are following the new semester, and when you come to new curriculum, you're following a new curriculum, and whenever you come to a new semester, you see everything is empty. That's because you are the first batch that going into that semester. And because I took on the program directorship in the end of 2021, so you can be sure that I remember your batch very, very well. In fact, my very important task when I took on the role, the dean told me that your one important role is to make sure the new curriculum roll out uneventfully, successfully, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay. And that's true. To make sure the new curriculum roll out successfully. In the past, practical attachment is not assessed at all. But after your SEM 5, when you have your practical attachment, this is the first time we're going to test you're going to have some kind of assessment for practical attachment. That means it's going to be graded.
So does that mean practical attachment was not like necessary to do in the past?
It is necessary, it does not contribute to
The
CGPA.
CGPA,
Right? For them, after they gone through SEM 5, their CGPA is not going to change. Right?
So
That's their final CGPA, and they just have to make sure that they go through the practical attachments, submit logbook, get a very good review from their on-site supervisors, no complaint from them. That would be all for. But for you, it's a new thing that we're going to test out and new frontier that we haven't really explored. We are equally.
The next question: What made you to make a decision to become a lecturer?
So this is similar.
Okay, then we move to the next one. If you had a second career option, what would it be?
Throwback.
How about, would you have gone to research if it wasn't for
Or diagnostic.
teaching? Oh, yeah, research or
Oh yeah, I will think working in a diagnostic lab because I was in a diagnostic lab before I joined IMU.
How was the diagnostic lab? Was it like enjoyable or
It
stressful?
was very hectic.
Oh.
So I remember last year I went back to clinical diagnostic lab because I went to visit a student
Oh, okay.
at the diagnostic lab for practical attachment.
Sorry,
The lab already have been through a lot of change. It's almost unrecognizable because in the past, like hematology lab is one secluded room, biochemistry lab is in the next room, and now in the whole clinical diagnostic lab is one big area connected by conveyor belts. Yeah, it changes a lot. The lab changes a lot, and it's fascinating look at how big the changes are.
So next question is piece of advice for us biomedical science students.
Oh, I think as my mentee, you heard of my advice. I already say that. Actually, I think all mentors are going to say spend more time in your study. Make preparation early. Don't leave everything till last minute. And also to read more. I don't know as a student how much you read about COVID, how much you read about vaccine, how much you read about any advance of discoveries or technologies that come out in diagnostic and healthcare. It will actually help you a lot when you study.
So study something beside than the lecture note, right?
Right.
What do you feel about students' motivation for their lecture?
I think it's the same throughout the years. You will have students that are less participative in class. You're not sure whether they're really interested in study, but there will always be a group of students that are passionate and they are good in their studies. I think the challenge is to how to motivate or guide weaker students so that they can follow the curriculum well. It is always a challenge.
So the next question is quite similar, which is asking the reason of not releasing the ELS question to the student, as we might miss an opportunity to learn from our mistake. So it
But
is.
the thing is, I think I get like the point of view from IMU wise why not releasing US is a good thing, because like if I graduated Tsen 3 and I wanted the US result, then I could remember the questions and like know the answer. Maybe it's confidentiality. I can pass it on to other semester student. If that's what I would be thinking.
So that means the question is same for every.
No.
It's not the same, but like it provides maybe like it gives them an idea of EOS maybe, and I think maybe IME doesn't want that. But there's no reason for me to want to see Sem 3 when I graduated Sem 3, you know.
I think we only want to see after we finish the exam.
Yeah,
right?
maybe like curiosity which one we get
Yeah,
or not. But like after a couple months, I wouldn't really care about what I wrote if I had like passed, especially with good grades, you know. I wouldn't look back and want to know which one was wrong. So yeah, I guess.
Okay, but it does answer your question.
Yeah, confidently.
Okay, so the last question. Do you miss your outstanding student from BM 116?
The question is from our Instagram. So we posted on Instagram. So then anyone, maybe our alumni, they can ask the question. So maybe someone.
Let me recall.
So 116, do you have a student in mind?
I disappoint you. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I name one. Xin Fei?
Are you watching?
I'm not sure if she's even from ours. I'm making
Some.
yes, yeah.
116 is quite a long time.
I love you anyway.
Okay. So I think that brought us to the end of this episode. So thank you, Dr. Tsen, and my co-hosts, Vanessa and Lilian. So
Thank you, Dr. Tsen.
Thank you for having me.